May I have your attention, please? The faculty and staff of Widener University Commonwealth Law welcome you today. We ask that you remain seated for the processional. And now, ladies and gentlemen, it is with a great deal of pride that we present to you the graduating class of the Widener University Commonwealth Law School, the class of 2024.
Good evening. Welcome to the 33rd commencement ceremony of Widener University Commonwealth Law School. If you are able, please stand for the singing of the National Anthem by Ms. Carly Lafferty.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say, does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
You may be seated. I'm Michael Hussey, Dean of Widener University Commonwealth Law School. It is my pleasure to welcome you to this year's commencement ceremony. Seated on the platform are members of our Widener University Board of Trustees, including Chair Paul Bideman, Vice Chair Cynthia Sarnowski, Trustee Dexter Hamilton, and Trustee Douglas Wolfberg, class of '96. We are also pleased to have C. Granger Bowman with us, a member of the Law School's Board of Advisors. I am honored to also introduce Widener University President Stacey Robertson, Provost Andrew Workman, and all of our esteemed faculty. It is now my pleasure to introduce John Daniel Merola, the immediate past president of the Student Bar Association. While president this academic year, John helped organize countless SBA events and served as the student liaison to the administration. He has been an absolute pleasure to work with this year. John?
Thank you, Dean Hussey. Good evening, everyone. I would like to thank my executive board members for all of their hard work and dedication over this past year. I truly could not have done it without you, and I do truly appreciate it. I'd also like to thank all of the student organization leaders that are here today. It has been an absolute privilege to work with you on campus and see you do your best to make our campus into the vibrant and welcoming community that it has become. Widener is second to none. Our distinguished faculty, staff, and administrators have given us everything we need to succeed and be valuable members in the legal community. Please join me in thanking everyone at Widener for their guidance and dedication. Thank you. To my fiance, family, and friends, I want to thank you for your unwavering support over these past 3 years. I know I can be difficult at times, and this period of my life was definitely no different. And I would not be where I am today without all of your unconditional love and encouragement. So I do truly appreciate you and love you more than you will ever know. Last and certainly not least, on behalf of the Student Bar Association, I would like to congratulate each and every one of my colleagues here today. We did it. We're done. We have all grown into brilliant lawyers who are eager to leave the world in a better place than we found it. From the time we walked into the door at orientation, we didn't know what to expect or even if we'd be here 3 or 4 years later. I think it's safe to say, though, that we only have one more hurdle to overcome, and that's the bar exam coming up relatively soon. And I know that you all have what it takes to succeed and reach the level of prestige that you're all destined to achieve. As the great Michael Scott once said, you miss 100% of the shots that you don't take. Again, I would like to thank you for giving me the opportunity to serve as your SBA president, and I am proud to be a Widener alum. Congratulations and best of luck in your future endeavors. Thank you.
Thank you, John. It is now my honor to introduce the valedictorian of the graduating class, the graduate who has achieved the highest grade point average of the class and is graduating summa cum laude. This year's valedictorian is Rachel Gross. Throughout law school, Rachel interned at the YWCA's Domestic Violence Legal Center. In addition, she served as a judicial intern at the United States District Court, Middle District of Pennsylvania, for the Honorable Jennifer Wilson, and as a judicial intern at the Dauphin County Court of Common Pleas for the Honorable Royce Morris. Rachel was an Academic Success Fellow for Legal Methods with Professor Amanda Schultes. Upon graduation, Rachel will begin working at Siliker and Reinhold. It is now my pleasure to welcome Rachel Gross to the podium. Congratulations, knock it out.
Thank you. Thank you, Dean Hussey. Good evening. This really is a good evening. For most of us, this is our final graduation, marking the end of our formal education. Graduation is often a time for reflection, a moment that provides the opportunity to look back on how far we have come. When we started this journey, we were told it would be taxing, difficult, rigorous, and grueling. It was indeed all of those things, but it was also a time for growth, and grow we did. We sat in lecture after lecture, debating heavy topics and pondering the difficult questions. Through it all, we learned to think like a lawyer, which is more than just asking, but did you get it in writing? It is that too. After all these long years of studying and learning, we have landed here, the moment where we can officially proclaim ourselves lawyers. We didn't get to this point by ourselves. There are many here who deserve recognition for the role they have played in helping us along the way. On a personal note, I would like to thank my father and mother-in-law, who have always been helping me and cheering me along the way. To my father, who has encouraged law as a career path as a child. To my mother, her love and support go to the very foundation of who I am. When you have kids, everyone will tell you it takes a village. It is absolutely true, and my mom is the queen of mine. To my children, Mason, Logan, Cora, and Lincoln, you are my biggest source of inspiration, and I strive every day to be the best example I can be for you. Last but not least, to my husband. The hardest part of writing this speech was finding the right words to convey just how much I truly appreciate all of your support and encouragement. I'm still not sure I have it right, so I'll just keep it short. I thank you with my whole heart. From the big gestures to the little ones, you step up in every way, and it has meant more to me than you know. I know I'm not the only one here with a tremendous support system. Thank you to all the family and friends who are here today, taking time out of your lives to celebrate us, the class of 2024. Some of you had to travel far to be here today, and your efforts do not go unnoticed. The support we feel today and all the hard days leading to this moment mean more than you know. I would also like to thank Widener University. From the deans to the administrators, campus security to Brian's tech support, the librarians, Jeremy, just Jeremy in his entirety, collectively, you make an incredible team that has supported us in a profound way as students. We are grateful. And of course, thank you to our professors. We came into your classrooms as 1Ls with eager minds and high hopes. You quickly humbled us and then spent the next 3 to 4 years pushing us to dig deeper, try harder, push further. I speak for our student body when I say I am thankful for the challenge. You made us better, forcing us to consider the other side of every argument, to think critically, to analyze one step further. I once heard that the best type of teacher shows you where to look but doesn't tell you what to see. Our professors have all different teaching styles here at Widener, and thankfully we most definitely have this type. My favorite question ever asked in law school, the one that made us think the most, did the court get it right in this case, and why? If there is any doubt who asked that kind of question in his lectures, I am talking about you here, Professor Domino. My final thank you goes to my classmates, a bunch of go-getters showing up day in and day out to chase your dreams. I have felt so inspired to sit alongside you in the classroom and watch you manifest the career you've envisioned for so long. I will miss the energy of your drive and your relentless hustle. We don't just look back during graduation, we also look forward. We have all been asked by many, what are our plans after the bar? What type of law do we want to practice? Perhaps the most important question we are now facing is who will we help? This is the key to it all. We all have a different why, a different reason to have picked up that LSAT prep course and started on this road. May we never forget our why. We are here to help people. We get the chance to use our education to change the lives of our clients. That is something we're celebrating here today. Thank you.
And now it is with great pleasure that I welcome Widener University President Dr. Stacey Robertson to the podium.
Good evening, everyone. It's such a joy to be here, and I actually have a surprise for Dean Hussey. He doesn't know this is going to happen right now. So, Dean Hussey, we have a proclamation for you. So, I'm going to read it. I'm going to read it out loud. Whereas Widener University recognizes the outstanding leadership and dedication of its faculty members, and whereas Michael J. Hussey's steady leadership as interim dean during the most challenging period of the COVID-19 pandemic ensured the continued success and well-being of the law school community, and whereas after his appointment as dean in 2021, he oversaw the first junior faculty hires in many years, strengthening the academic offerings, carefully stewarded the budget, and took leadership of a school-wide effort to improve student preparation for the bar exam. And whereas under Michael J. Hussey's guidance, the law school saw a remarkable increase of 1/3 in its entering class while improving its academic profile, demonstrating his commitment to growth and the future of legal education. And whereas Michael J. Hussey led the Widener Commonwealth Law School through its successful reaccreditation by the American Bar Association. There's a few more whereases, just letting you know. Whereas prior to taking on the dean role, Michael J. Hussey served the school by ably acting as associate dean from 2016 to 2020. And whereas, in addition to his administrative contributions, Michael J. Hussey has served with distinction as a professor at Widener Commonwealth Law School since 2004. And whereas Michael J. Hussey's expertise in taxation, business organizations, wills, trusts, and estate planning has enriched the curriculum and benefited countless students. And whereas Michael J. Hussey's founding of the law school's innovative business advising program demonstrates his commitment to preparing students for the practical realities of legal practice. And whereas Michael J. Hussey's leadership as faculty director of the Voluntary Income Tax Assistance Program has provided vital tax services to low to moderate taxpayers in the Harrisburg area for over 16 years, returning millions of dollars to the community. And whereas Michael J. Hussey's dedication to his students is evidenced by his recognition as the law school's Teacher of the Year, and whereas Michael J. Hussey is recognized by his faculty and staff colleagues as possessing the highest degree of integrity and honesty in the performance of his duties, now, therefore, be it proclaimed that the Widener University community extends its sincere gratitude to Michael J. Hussey for his exceptional service as Dean of Widener Commonwealth Law School. We commend his dedication to legal education, his commitment to public service, his unwavering support for the students, faculty, and staff of the law school, and his remarkable leadership during a time of great challenge. Congratulations, Michael. Hi, everyone. That was a lot of whereases. Thank you so much for being here this evening with us. I would like to begin with an expression of gratitude to all the dedicated staff and faculty, all of whom are with us today, and especially our generous and devoted commencement leaders and volunteers. Thank you so much for your time and effort. I'd also like to recognize all of the friends and family who are here with us today. Your love and support are priceless. None of us get here on our own. Sometimes we have a team of supporters who believe in us, and sometimes it is just a single person. Whatever the case, graduates, will you please stand and give a round of applause to your friends and family. Thank you. Thanks so much. I am truly delighted to be here with you this evening. Graduation is my absolute favorite time of year. It is full of joy and ritual, gratitude and celebration, and it is all about you. I want to offer my utmost and enthusiastic congratulations to each of you. Earning this degree has required focus, hard work, a willingness to grow and learn, including, of course, the ability to recover from challenges, and I know we have all experienced those. I am absolutely confident that each of you will use your degree to find career success, enrich the communities around you, and play a part, big or small, in making the world a better place. Your Widener Alumni Network is 60,000 strong, and will always be here to support you, cheer you on, and welcome you home. You are lifetime members of the Pride. My remarks today are going to be very brief because I know the most important part of this beautiful ceremony is when we see our graduates cross the stage. What I'd like to do for just a couple of minutes is to reflect on what it means to flourish in life. I am on the brink of 60 years old, which means I've had a little bit of time to think about this question. First, build meaningful relationships. I'm reading a book right now called The Good Life. The authors are involved in this study. It's the longest ongoing study of life satisfaction, 80 years long. They have been surveying and questioning the same group of people. And they dug deep into the research to try and find the recipe for what makes people happy. It turns out developing meaningful relationships is the recipe. Let me quote the authors. The people who were happiest, who stayed healthiest as they grew old, and who lived the longest were the people who had the warmest connections with other people. The warmest connections with other people. It is not about the number of relationships you have. It is about the quality of those relationships. Trust, warmth, and deep care. These are the qualities you should be seeking in developing meaningful relationships. I have 2 friends in my life who have been with me for decades. Stephanie and I have been friends since we were 12 years old. She never lets me forget my roots. She gives me a loving hard time like nobody's business, and she is always there for me. Demetrius and I met in 1994, and she has been relentlessly at my side ever since. She is a brilliant poet and teacher who inspires me, makes me brave, and teaches me to listen to my own heart. I know these 2 will always have my back. I don't live anywhere near them, and we are all very busy people, but we find time to prioritize our relationship and to spend time together. I hope that you all find your version of Stephanie and Demetrius. These are the relationships that will keep you happy, healthy, and fulfilled. These are the relationships that constantly remind you you belong. In addition to building meaningful relationships, I also encourage you to keep learning. If you are looking for a successful life, one in which you seek excellence, pursue ambitious goals, and plan to make a difference in the world, you need to embrace the idea that learning is a constant in your life. It doesn't end with your degree. Curiosity is priceless. But it seems like there's this point in our lives where we lose a little bit of that curiosity. I remember when my 2 boys were very young and they were first discovering the world around them. As we took walks in our neighborhood in Peoria, Illinois, my oldest son, Evan, would constantly ask, "Hada," which meant, for him, "What's that?" Oh my gosh, it was a barrage of "Hada, Hada, Hada." His curiosity was endless, and it gave him so much joy to learn. I urge you to embrace your inner Hada. Ask questions, read, listen to podcasts, continue to take classes, maybe even pursue another degree, but you give that a few years, right? Okay. Prioritize learning and do not allow yourself the excuse that you don't have enough time. There are 168 hours in every single week. If you take out work and sleep, you still have about 70 hours left. You have time. I listen to Audible books when I'm in my car. My commute is 10 minutes. You'd think that's not a lot of time, but you add up those 10 minutes in 1 week. That's 100 minutes of listening and learning time. I have listened to literally dozens and dozens of books this way and learned so much. Okay, my final piece of advice. Do scary stuff. We create too many boundaries for ourselves out of fear and shame. How many opportunities have you missed out on because it seemed too scary? Because you were worried you might embarrass yourself, or you thought you might fail, or you thought your weakness would be revealed. We need to let go of those fears. We need to learn to embrace bravery. More often than not, those fears are untrue. And even when we do reveal weakness, or fail, or feel embarrassed, these are opportunities to grow our resilience, to rise strong. I read a book a while back called The 5-Second Rule. It offers a very simple life hack. When trying to change a habit or do something hard, We often get stuck in our heads and our fears. We overthink it. We let doubt creep in, and it keeps us from even trying. The hack is to count backwards from 5 and then do it. Don't let yourself think it through. Just count backward from 5 and jump in and do it. If you want to wake up a little bit earlier and you have a habit of pushing that snooze button, the next time, set your alarm. When it goes off, count back from 5, jump out of bed. Don't give yourself time to talk yourself into that snooze. I used to be really intimidated about asking questions when I was at conferences. All the speakers seemed so brilliant, and I always had questions, but I just never was brave enough to raise my hand. So I started employing this hack, and it actually worked. The speaker would stop speaking, I'd count back from 5 in my head, and then without even thinking, my hand would shoot up and I'd ask my question. Another simple life hack is to take small steps and seek small wins. If you really want to run a marathon but fear failure, start with a mile and work your way up. Little wins drive your motivation and your confidence. Most important, don't create boundaries for yourself. Do scary stuff. And don't forget those meaningful relationships that I started with. Those relationships create a sense of belonging, and that feeling of belonging helps to make you brave. Okay, so it is really important to also know when to conclude a speech. Now is that time. May each of you, my friends, flourish throughout your life journey. I am sending you all kinds of love and hugs and big congratulations.
Will the candidates for all degrees please rise? President Robertson, the students standing have successfully completed the courses of study prescribed for the Juris Doctor degree for which they are candidates. Upon the recommendation of the faculty of Widener University Commonwealth Law School, it gives me great satisfaction to present them for their degrees.
Under the authority vested in me by the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania and the trustees of Widener University, I confer upon you the degrees for which you have successfully completed the prescribed courses of study and for which you have been recommended by the faculty of Widener University Commonwealth Law School. This degree is conferred with all the rights, privileges, and immunities pertaining thereto. Graduates of Widener University Commonwealth Law School, I congratulate you.
All right, you may be seated, and we'll begin with the first row.
Rajasiri Alaparthi. Graduating magna cum laude, Frank J. Aritz. Frank is being congratulated today by his father, Frank Aritz, Widener University Law graduate, class of 1978. Ayalua Agnes Urio. Riley Morgan Baker. Giselle Berrigan. Thomas D. Begley IV. Graduating cum laude, Randall J. Boyer. Jennifer Ward Brennan. John Benjamin Bretler. Graduating cum laude, Lauren Rose Burkhart. Kayla Burnham. Graduating cum laude, Kelsey Ireland Burns. Lewis M. Callahan. Marigan Campbell. Maureen Milagros Archibald Carrion. Dominic Johan Carter. Graduating magna cum laude, Nicole E. Chatfield. Jessica Aline Collier. Paige T. Connors. Elizabeth Sarah Cosgrove. Graduating cum laude, Peyton Mariah Daly. Giovanna Maria Daniele. Richard Dixon. Graduating cum laude, Kira Rachel Douglas. Callie Morgan Dreher. Edward Charles Eichmann III. Brian M. Elias. Brian Stephen Aris. Mark William Evich. Kevin Chuka Ezauza. Graduating magna cum laude, Erica Christine Firestone. Mary Kate Flanagan. Graduating cum laude, Faith Hope Foster. Savannah Ashlyn Francois. Graduating cum laude, Jacob Thomas Ray Funk. Molly A. Furlong. Emily Ann Golly. Tyler Gates. Janine Anique Marie Gordon. Connor John Richard Grimmick. Graduating summa cum laude, Rachel Gross. Cade M. Hambright. Sneha Henry. John V. Rishikesh Jamindar. Blakely Sky Coleman. Shakshi Nishant Kshatriya Singh. Emily Nicole LaGreca. Sarah Lamaster. Malika J. Lamore. Quincy Marie Loss. Graduating cum laude, Nathan David Madden. Stephen Mario Molino Jr. Kimberly Morera. Graduating cum laude, Gabrielle Elizabeth Martin.
Thank you.
Nicole Marie Marzocco. Nicole is being congratulated today by her uncle, Christopher Marzocco, graduate of Widener University School of Law, class of 1996. Rachel Elizabeth McLean. Graduating magna cum laude, John Daniel Merola. Sierra Dolores Messick. Lillianelle Mullinex. Abigail Murphy. Graduating magna cum laude, Carrie Lorraine Nace. Haley Rose Obzit. Christine Francis Paris. Earthvi Patel.
Hi.
Leandra Patterson. Zachary T. Penzone and Wings Penzone. Emily Reagan. Graduating magna cum laude, Elizabeth Irene Reed. Ian Thomas Riley. Graduating magna cum laude, Brittany Lee Rodas. Israel Rojas, Jr. Michael P. Rooney. Graduating cum laude, Daniel Rosero. Reese Alistair Rosso. Alexis Rostashore. Maria L. Sabatino. Nicole Sodi. Demi Speckler. Oh my gosh. Do you see that up there? That's incredible. Gabrielle A. Spizak. Matthew G. Strubinger. Matthew is being congratulated today by his father, Gerald Strubinger Jr., Widener University School of Law, class of 1992. Graduating summa cum laude, Kira Swartzlander. Sui Tia Til. Graduating summa cum laude, Curtis Joseph Tokach. Hannah Volukas. Ashley C. Varghese. Victoria Audrey Verleza. Graduating cum laude, Summers Walsh. Matthew Jan Williams. Graduating cum laude, Lindsay Althea Williamson, Esquire. Ryan Joseph Wersch. Andrew Wers. Jacob Edmund Yarmy.
You may be seated. Congratulations, graduates. I have been thinking now for about 3 months about what to say this evening. And I've probably written 3 or 4 different sets of remarks because I've had trouble deciding on how to pull them together. And it was not until last week that I realized that the reason for my difficulty was that the theme running through all of them was transition and transformation. When your theme is about change, it can be a slippery thing to get a hold of. The last few years have not only been unusual and remarkable, they have also been transformational. Transformational for you personally as law school graduates, transformational for us as a law school, and for us as a society. As graduates, you are here at a threshold moment. You have crossed the stage and gone from law students to law graduates. By late fall, you will have gone from law graduates to attorneys at law. Not only have you made a transition, You have been transformed too. You now think like a lawyer. You analyze problems differently. You listen more attentively, knowing that details matter. After a transformation, you are not and cannot be the same. The law school is going through transition as well. Although I know that our students, staff, and faculty know this, some of you who are family and friends might not. We have a 3-year regular division program, usually for day students, and a 4-year extended division program, usually for night students. Tonight, we celebrate and graduate the last of our extended division students that joined us in the heart of the pandemic in August of 2020. These intrepid graduates spent their first year with us on Zoom. And thus, for the law school, we have a transition. We're going a little bit more from COVID to post-COVID. We're further going through a transition and a transformation as we adapt to a changing educational environment. We must adapt our teaching to prepare graduates for the practice of law in a world being changed by artificial intelligence. Our country and our society are in a time of transition as well. We have presidential, congressional, and state elections this year. We have wars around the world. We have escalating tensions with foreign powers. We have protests at home. We have humanitarian crises. The problems facing us are complex and daunting. So what does that mean for all of you? I suggest that it means in these liminal moments, these moments of change, that it is incumbent upon you, as soon-to-be lawyers, to be the leaders and visionaries to guide us through. It is incumbent upon you to speak up and defend the rule of law. It is incumbent upon you to advocate for those who have no one to speak for them. The alumni that have come before you and graduated have gone on to become federal judges, state judges from the Pennsylvania Supreme Court on down, the Attorney General of the Commonwealth, the next Attorney General of the Commonwealth, a United States Attorney, White House Counsel, Acting Secretary of the Army, and one who is currently serving as the United States Ambassador to Papua New Guinea, the Solomon Islands, and Vanuatu. They all accepted the challenge and the responsibility that comes with being an attorney. As alums, they walked across this stage that you just did. But the special place in our society entrusted to attorneys is not exclusive to those grand stages. It is also much closer to home. Your family and friends will look at you differently. Not only will they look to you as a subject matter expert, but they will look to you implicitly for moral, philosophical, or ethical advice and counsel as well. They will look to you for your approval because you are an attorney. You are committed to the rule of law. As you step forward into these challenges, please remember that we, as attorneys, must ensure that the unalienable rights endowed upon each of us are protected and respected so that each of us, by immersing ourselves in those rights, may fully flourish. I highly recommend that you embrace the profession you are joining, accept its challenges, accept its opportunities, accept its responsibilities. You and all of us will be better for you having done that. Congratulations and good luck to you. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me once again in congratulating the class of 2024. Thank you for all attending this evening's ceremony. It has been a joyous night. We invite you to join us for light refreshments on the forum lawn after the ceremony. Please remain seated as the platform party begins the recession. Thank you and good night.